also Mace with Mace Tech Security Solutions, and thank you, Michael, for doing such a good job. Last month I spoke at IdeaCamp and I talked about technology and the Fourth Amendment. So I'm going to continue that. We talked last time about why privacy is important, why it's vital to all of us. And privacy is, as I mentioned then, privacy is a fundamental part of our humanity. Well, these days, everybody seems to be trying to steal our privacy away, and technology seems to be letting that happen. But technology is really a dual-edged sword. For as much as it allows salesmen and authoritarians and thieves and politicians to try to intrude into our lives and steal our privacy, it also allows us to protect our privacy. However, it does take a little work. It's not convenient. There is some things that you have to do. It's not like you were in the past where you were able to just expect privacy going about your day-to-day lives. Now you have to do something to protect your privacy. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time here today talking about how we can use today's technology to protect our privacy. And I'm not going to talk about businesses, and mainly I deal with businesses and help businesses protect their data, secure their systems, and those kinds of things. And if you have a business and want to see me about that, then I'll be glad to talk to you. But I want to talk a little bit about personal privacy today and what you can do personally. So one of the most one of the invaders of our privacy is this little device right here, this cell phone, right? We all carry these now. We all have smartphones, and they can tell where you are and who you associate with. And if you have a cell phone, then you are giving up some of your privacy. But that's not really true, because there are things you can do to protect your privacy. You communicate with this. You communicate with your computers. You communicate with the internet all the time. The internet's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's designed very well. You can take a packet and drop it on the internet and tell it where to go, and it finds its way to its destination. And that's the way the internet's designed. But however, you don't know what path it's taking to get there. And along the way, anybody can read or see what you're sending from one place to another. And that's the danger. That's where you lose your privacy. So how do we prevent that? Well, the way we prevent that is through technology called encryption. Okay, and we should all, I would like to see myself, the entire internet encrypted so that all of our information is scrambled. What is encryption? By the way, as I try not to get too techy. I'm a tech guy, a geek. I'll try to talk in layman's terms, but if anybody has any questions, please speak right up. Let's make this a little bit more interactive than just me talking. I know that I was excited about doing this, but being out here, I'm thinking, gosh, who wants to listen to me? Anyway, so in layman's terms, what is encryption? It's just, we use mathematical formulas to scramble data up and make it look like a random noise. And we use an encryption key, a password or a secret key. And you all are familiar with passwords and encryption. It's how we can talk on the internet and send credit card information from one place to another and be secure. It's the reason that we can pardon? Did I hear a question? Okay. It's okay. So we're all familiar with encryption. Well, how do we use that day to day to protect ourselves, though? Let's look at some of the ways we communicate with the outside world through technology. We make phone calls. It used to be when we had a landline and we made a phone call over the landline, we could pretty much believe that it was secure. If someone wanted to wiretap us, they had to go get a warrant. They had to go get, in fact, I do want to read one thing. This is last time I talked about the Fourth Amendment. I want to read the Fourth Amendment here. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. I'm supposed to be standing here. And no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported by an oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. That's actually pretty simple and straightforward. In fact, the entire Constitution, all of our Bill of Rights are that way. They're simple and straightforward, and they say you are protected in this way. This is your right. But it gets more complicated than that unfortunately, in today's world. And so we have to protect ourselves. So you make a call on your cell phone. Well, these days, if you make a call on your cell phone, your conversations can be listened to by anyone that has the money and the technology, right? So what I would suggest is that rather than just making a cell phone call, you use something called Red Phone. Okay, you look up an app called Red Phone, download it on your phone, and use that. Now it's a little more inconvenient because both you and the person on the other end has to be using Red Phone. You can't leave voicemails, unfortunately. But if you want to make sure that your conversation is completely and solely private between you and that person, use Red Phone. That's one example.
Work with iPhones.
You answer that because I'm not sure.
Red Phone, I believe, is at this point Android only. Feel free if you are an Apple fan to look it up. It's a good app anyway.
Yeah. Many people used to use Skype just for this reason, because Skype was encrypted. And Skype still is encrypted. However, Skype used to be something called open source. Now, open source means that the source code and of the application is published for the world to see. So you can see, everyone can see what's happening on it. And you could be secure because you knew exactly what was running on your phone. But Skype has since been taken over by Microsoft, I believe. And many people say that Microsoft has put in back doors so that they can listen in when they want to. Another example, you've heard of Carbonite, and many businesses use Mozy Pro and Carbonite. These are systems that you use to back up your computers online. They're very convenient. They happen immediately, or not exactly immediately, but as you're doing business day to day, your files are all backed up and you need to go get them. It's very convenient, but the problem is those are stored unencrypted or in plain text. Plain text is what we security people call unencrypted data. But we recommend using something called Trust No One Encryption, TNO. That means that before you ever send anything to the internet, it's encrypted on your device, on your workstation, on your laptop, on your tablet. It's encrypted before you send it up to the internet for backup. Mace offers, coincidentally, a service like that that's very, very affordable and very, very competitive. But as a person, and we do that for our business clients, as a person, look up Spider Oak or Jungle Disk. If you want to back up your computers, they're cheaper than or as inexpensive as Carbonite, and all your data is encrypted and stored in the cloud, so that if anyone does compromise that system and breaks into the data, it's all just random noise. Yeah, go ahead.
What kind of performance hit do you get on the encryption?
It depends. For instance, Red Phone, you'll hear some degradation of quality in the conversation, maybe a little echo sometimes. So there is some performance hit. In terms of the backup, it doesn't really matter, because when you're backing up things, then that happens in the background, and so you don't really notice it. The inconvenience comes from two things. You've got education, so people don't really know they can do this. They don't know that it's out there and available. So part of what I started Mace Tech for, and what I wanted to do, is to educate people and show them how they can, in my small way, help protect people and protect their privacy by educating them. So you have to put up with a little more inconvenience, and you have to do a little more education to get this. But the interesting thing about encryption is that the more that we all use it, the more secure we all become, because if someone does want to listen in on conversations and you've got 1,000 people talking and one of those lines is encrypted, then they think, oh, well, what are they trying to hide? And as I mentioned last time, it doesn't matter. We're not trying to hide anything. We just want to maintain our privacy. That's what people do. So if 999 of those conversations are encrypted, then it's commonplace, and that's important. So one of the other things that, so let's look at some of the other ways we communicate. Chatting. When you chat, if you have an instant message program, there's something called off the record. It's a protocol that when you go into a room with somebody and you have a conversation and there's a legal kind of foundation for this. When you say, okay, we're off the record, right? Then nobody's being recorded, nobody's saying anything to each other that you go off the record, and so you have a conversation, and then later on you can deny it if you want to, or you can say that, hey, we were off the record. So there's a little program called CryptoCat. It's an add-on for Firefox or Chrome or I think Safari browsers, and CryptoCat or CryptoCat, that's what it is. You can communicate with somebody else on a chat message, and there's no recording, and it's encrypted the whole way, and there's no way for anyone to listen in or to later read that conversation and know what you said. Another example, email. With email, we want to securely communicate with somebody through email. Well, you can download an open source program called Thunderbird, download an open source encryption protocol called PGP, also GPG. It used to be pretty good privacy. Now it's really great privacy, but but you can use these technologies to secure your communications through email. I'm not going to go into there's a lot of other technologies for what I call really private or seriously private people. Things using like VPN, TrueCrypt. If you there's Bitcoin, there's Tor, there's other ways of keeping yourself really, really private and making transactions and exchanges online. I'm not going to go into all that because I only have 15 minutes and I've already been told that I've got probably 2 left maybe. So is there any questions about any of this? Is there anyone that has any privacy concerns? And please talk to me afterwards and I'll be glad to answer them. I like to keep up on all this stuff, not because I have so much to hide, but just because I'm a geek and like that kind of stuff. So any questions? All right, that's just a little sample of what we know and what we can offer, and what you as a private citizen can do to maintain your privacy and keep your communications and your information completely to yourself. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.